To Morning Cafe, and of course at this level where we are discussing matters, politics and current affairs, just what is happening in the country, and sometimes we will stretch it to beyond, and we still have Josphat, we have Njeri, as well as Nick this morning as we unpack the events in the country. Maybe Nick, before you continue, I take it back to Kamaya. Kamaya, the mountain vis-a-vis what we have witnessed across the country as to protests. They always said that if you want to be safe when the country has its protests and all this, uncertainty,
right,
go to the mountainside, because there they value their businesses, they value their lives and everything, and therefore they will not go there to loot and cause destruction. This is contrary to what we saw in the previous cases. Would it be misplaced then to argue that something is amiss?
It's totally misplaced, because nothing is amiss in the central region or the mountain region, as it were. If you go back even to the 1992 and 97 clashes and then coming to 2007, peace and tranquility prevailed in this region. For one reason, because people are politically woke, and there has never been, and it's a very cosmopolitan area, by the way, you should know, because all the communities of the world, actually, not just the nation, are domiciled in the central region or the Mount Kenya region. But there is a developing dynamic which is now beginning to shed sort of a dark shade on the Mount Kenya region, whereby you have people in power mobilizing goons during demonstrations, and they infiltrate peaceful demonstrations. Then that leads to the destruction of property and looting and all the damages that we have seen. But it has to be noteworthy to all Kenyans that all these destruction of property has happened in the wide eye of the police. Those goons were even being escorted by the police. So it is not about Mount Kenya people turning against each other and beginning to fight.
Right.
No, this is what you call sponsored goonism. This is sponsored anarchy, to try and cast a shade that is the Mount Kenya region that is not comfortable with the regime. They're the only ones who are agitating against the regime. That is not correct. But
is the mountain comfortable politically?
The mountain is,
your own assessment.
In my own assessment, the mountain is uncomfortable because of the economic decline that has been brought about by the regime. The mountain has never really bragged about having a person in position and saying a person is in the one who is in the office. The mountain
and that they will never act when they saw Rigiji facing impeachment.
If there was any discourse, if there was any discomfort in the mountain region, they would have come out to protest against the impeachment of the deputy president. But you want to remember that when the former deputy president was being impeached, the mountain wanted both the deputy president then and the president to be impeached. We wanted them both out of office. We started the whole story of Gachagua when the deputy president was still in office and is a person from the mountain. Because having a person in a higher office does not cure the economic crisis you're having. It does not resolve the health issues you're having. So the mountain is now realigning and realizing that we need to form a functional government. And it really does not matter who is a president. What matters is the public policy really serving the interest of Kenyans. Because remember, the bulk of tax collection comes from between Machakos and Nakuru all the way to the Mount Kenya region. So when tax collection is that high, and then you don't receive the proportional services as you should as a region, you have all the reasons to be disgruntled. But the acts of violence, those are sponsored. And all the NIS knows it. That's why they keep saying they are acts of terrorism. Acts of terror are organized. It's not something that happens just hula baloo. We've had a lot of peaceful demonstrations, even here in Nairobi. Remember, even maandamano of BAMBA never really got to extent where we would see such killings and such destruction of property.
Yeah.
So what is happening right now is a dynamic whereby you have sponsored terrorism by people who are in office and people who are in power.
Oh, so you're saying that the government is sponsoring these goons and then, of course, labeling others to be the sponsors?
Even the governor of Nairobi is blatantly accused of the same.
Yeah.
We have members of parliament from the Mount Kenya region, who are being accused of having sponsored goonism during the peaceful demonstrations, Sabasaba or any other day within the last 2 years. So this is it's a power dynamic they're trying to play and trying to pit people against one another. But Mount Kenya people are very woke. They know what the problem is. It is poor leadership. It is lack of the rule of law. Because if indeed anybody is sponsoring Gunism or anarchy in the country, yes, they should face the law.
Right.
The same way we are saying all members of parliament who are talking about now averting the function of the IBC, they should also face the law. When you have a CS giving orders that are not within his mandate, he should face the law.
All right.
So the Mount Kenya is very intact, in my opinion. They are organizing themselves, and people are going to come out and vote. This time, unfortunately, it's not going to be a tribal affair. Because what they're trying to turn is, remember what happened in, I think it was 2007, the 42 against 1.
Against 1, yeah.
That's what the card they're trying to play. But now it's been overtaken by event. We have having an issue-based political discourse, and this ideology conversation is going to happen. The paradigm shift remains. Remember again, we have many regions. You have the eastern region, you have the coastal region, you have the Rift Valley region.
Yeah.
We have to be very careful not to drive this country into anarchy, because if it's about numbers, then the Mount Kenya people have the numbers.
Okay.